welcome back to Week 18. Hard to believe we're at Week 18 of the Walk the Plank podcast, the podcast that dives deep into the week that was the Perry athletics world. And we're actually working on about 3 weeks of background here because we've been off on winter break here the last 2 weeks. So we'll try to catch things up. We did have several athletic events over break, and we'll try to highlight some of those and talk about some of those. But Week 18, joined always here by my co-host, Mr. Gene Winters. Thanks for joining us as always, Gene.
Yeah, it's nice to get back at it. Like you said,
Yeah.
even though there was a break, there was a lot that happened in the 2 weeks from the last podcast to where we are today.
And the thing is, everybody, if you have an athletic background or if you've had an athlete, whether a swimmer, a wrestler, basketball player, you know they're up here every day practicing. So, and then we've got, 5, 6 different events over break as well. So there really is no break for our athletes per se that are in season. So we give them a shout out coming in here every day when other people might be sleeping in or taking it easy a little bit. Our athletes are working hard. So we're joined today by our female athlete of the week, Noelle Griffith of our swim program. Thanks for joining us, Noelle.
Of course.
And we get, as always, we want to thank Dairy Queen. Each of our athletes of the week here today get a free meal deal and a Blizzard. So thanks to the Perry DQ for always supporting our athletics program here at Perry. Noelle is a junior on our swim team. We had a meet last night with Lake Catholic here at our home pool. And a rare tie in the world of swimming. The boys tied Madison last week, which shocked me. And then I talked to Coach Scheider last night after the meet, and he's like, "Yeah, another tie, just another DQ here, a DQ there." But sort of weird to have a tie in swimming.
Yeah, it is, because there's so many points, and especially with like first, second, and third points as well.
Yeah. So that's the thing. You have so many points. It's just crazy that we ended up tying them. But I know it's been a great season for our girls. So far, and I know we're excited about hosting the Perry Invitational here this coming weekend. This Saturday will be our swim portion of the Perry Invite, and Thursday night at 6 p.m. will be our diving. So let's talk a little bit about that. How do you like that, hosting a big invitation like that? We'll have 300 or 400 swimmers here. They'll all be camped out in our field house pretty much all day long on Saturday. Do you like hosting it? Do you like going away to different pools? What do you think about this coming weekend?
I enjoy being at home, and it's nice to have like so many people there, because at Spire, it got kind of cold this year.
Right, okay.
So Perry's a lot warmer right now.
So the pool temperature-wise, like the water, or just like inside the pool area?
On the pool deck,
On the pool
I think
deck.
like a door got left open.
Okay. We try to keep ours right around a couple of degrees above the pool temperature, try to keep it at 80, and then the air temp at about 84. So it's nice and toasty in there. All right, and Noelle, let's talk a little bit about the events that you swim. Right now, you're the 50 free. You're in 7th in the News Herald area with a 26.32 average, and 100 free. You're 5th overall in the News Herald area with 57.17. Are those your two top events that you like to race?
Yeah, they're just the easiest for me, I think.
Yeah.
But I also got put in the 100 fly recently, and it went
Okay.
pretty well, so I might be trying to do that next year.
Okay, awesome.
So as you prepare for these events, is the 50 always first, then the 100, or do they mix them up? Because obviously 100 longer than the 50.
Yeah, the events always have the same order in every single meet. So the 50 is, I think, event 7, and the 100 is event 11, so it's afterwards.
So only having 4 races off in between.
Yeah.
I mean, does that benefit you? Do you think you would benefit more for more time off in between?
No, because there's a break after the 50, so I'm
Okay.
fine. I get a good
Plenty
enough
of
break.
time to
Yeah.
Good enough break. Now, how long have you been doing the sport of swimming? Did you start when you were really young, or are you just picking this up in the last couple of years?
This is my 2nd year swimming.
Okay.
Because I used to do gymnastics beforehand.
Okay.
So I didn't start as a freshman. I started as a sophomore.
Okay. So really, you're a junior, so only really last year was your first year.
Yeah.
So to be 7th overall and 5th overall in 2 events is pretty impressive, considering you're just picking this up.
I know.
Okay.
Was there something from last year, getting your first taste in the pool that you identified as maybe a weakness that you wanted to improve on this past summer to get you ready for this junior year?
My dives have not been the greatest, and also like my turns off the wall I've been working on. I've gotten a little bit better, but I still need to work on them.
Now, how do you work on it? Like, just, do you like swim half the length and then push off, or do you start a little closer? Do you go through your whole routine to I don't know, get your adrenaline going so that way when you hit the wall, you're doing it the same way every time?
Honestly, it's anything, like just practicing it and doing it repeatedly. Like dives, I just like get out and do a bunch of them. But turns, we've had some practice on, where you just like start close to the wall and then swim into it and then go. So,
And you mentioned diving, so diving into the pool off of the board. And with your gymnastics background, have you ever thought about diving for our team at all? I know Coach Babcock probably would love to have you out there.
see, I would, but
Yeah.
I never got much into like flipping,
Okay.
and that was always what scared me, which is why I quit
Gotcha.
gymnastics.
Fair enough. So but it's going pretty well for you right now, considering this is year 2 for you. So, what goals did you have coming in to this year? Do you have like, is it a time thing? Hey, I want to break 26 in the 50, or I want to break 57 in the 100. What is it? Do you have those types of goals in mind, or it's just, hey, I'm going to go out and try to get better each and every meet?
This year I would love to go to states, so I think like around a lower 25 in the 50 would
Okay.
get me there, and
Yep.
then I'm not sure about the 100, but I'm guessing around like a 55 to 56 would
Okay.
get me there. And I don't know, I just try to swim better every single meet.
Right.
And being a junior this year, how have some of the seniors this year, or maybe even the seniors last year when you were in your first year as a sophomore, how did they help you and maybe, guide you to get where you are right now?
Well, I went to districts last year, so I was like with one of our relays, and having them all there like pushed me to do a lot better, and just like having a bunch of support from my team has been very helpful because they're always pushing me.
And what are our practices like? Try to give a little insight to people who maybe don't, have an idea. We have a pool here at Perry. We've always had one for 30 plus years now. But you guys practice usually for about 2 hours a day, and literally thousands and thousands of yards every day in there swimming. And it's really something I equate like swimming, cross country, wrestling, all extremely hard, mentally sort of anguishing sports. Are you thinking about anything when you're swimming all those laps, or what you're just, there's not music going on or anything like that? So anything in particular you're doing yourself just to get through that practice?
When I'm swimming, I try to like think about getting ahead and like
Okay.
doing better.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, it's kind of just like you're just swimming. You just
Yeah.
focus on swimming.
Just working hard.
Yep.
All right. And then, so CVC's coming up. So this week, again, Perry Invitational, Saturday. Come on out and support our boys and our girls here on Saturday at the Perry Pool. And then the following weekend, we are right into the Chagrin Valley Conference Swim Championships over at Hawken. We've repeated 6 times, I believe, as CVC champs. So obviously that's probably a goal for our team
Yeah.
again. Any particular individual goals that you have heading into CVC's next weekend?
I think just like placing high in both the 50 and the 100. And I would love to have my relays get up there too.
Okay,
So,
awesome.
And as you prepare, let's just go to next week with this CVC, not to overlook this weekend, but do you scout, or do you know, these are the 3 names that I have to worry about, these opponents to get where I want to be? Or do you just get in the pool and do your best and see what happens?
for the most part, it's just getting in the pool and doing the best. But sometimes I'll look at the like lineups and like look at other people's times to see if there's like anyone in particular I have to look out for.
So, and to circle back real quick, so normally you said you're race 7. From race 1 to 6, are you pacing the halls? Are you listening to music? Are you chilling in the corner? Take us through from the time you get there till race number 1.
My first race is actually the first event because I'm in the medley. But afterwards, I just dry off and listen to music to try and get myself hyped up for my next race.
That's awesome. And then, so we'll go CVC's here next weekend. And then, we've got a couple of dual meets left, another tournament or another invitational. And then we're right into sectionals districts, and then, as you mentioned, your goal is state. So our sectionals are at Spire. Our district event will be down at Cleveland State, and then our state portion is down at the Canton Natatorium there, right by the Football Hall of Fame. So I know as you guys get closer to that event, you're trying to get faster every race, every practice, build up that endurance, and then the last few weeks you're really tapering down. So the
Yeah.
yardage in the pool goes down, and you're trying to sort of save your body, if you will, for your best at the end of the year. What do you think from a district standpoint? I guess you mentioned the Spire pool already. The district pool at Cleveland State. Do you like to swim there? Is that a good venue for you, or do you have a favorite pool that you like to swim at?
I mean, I wouldn't say CSU is my favorite. I mean, I like Spire, but
Yeah.
CSU isn't a bad pool at all.
Yeah.
A lot of people this past year, because we had the Viking meet,
Yes.
said it was very intimidating,
Yeah.
but I don't think it was for me, probably because I went to districts last
Right,
year.
'cause you've been there, done
Yeah.
that, so that helps out as well.
So,
And then your season's over. So our state meet, again, we're going to keep an eye on you here and all of our swimmers. I know we had Brody on a couple of weeks ago. He has some big goals as well. So we're excited about what that is going to bring. The season's over, state meet's over. What are you swimming in the off season? Are you doing an off season program? Do you swim anywhere else, or you taking a little bit of a break?
I'm probably going to continue swimming.
Okay.
I might go onto a club team.
Yeah.
I'm not sure yet, but if I don't, I'm going to swim on my own here.
Right, okay, awesome. All right, well, before we let you go, Noelle, just a couple of questions for you, a little off the beaten path types of questions, just try to get to know you a little bit better. What is your favorite food?
Probably a good homemade mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese, all right, I like that. Favorite subject in school?
Science, specifically probably chemistry.
Chemistry, all right. And how about a favorite movie, or if not a movie, like a TV series or show?
I don't know. I really like the Harry Potter movies. Probably the third one.
Okay, awesome. Again, favorite memory, you've only been swimming for a couple of years, but any other sports or any other activities that you've been in that you have a favorite memory from, just any athletics that you've been part of?
Probably last year's district meet with everyone, just cheering everyone on.
Oh, that's awesome. And if you could visit anywhere in the world, money's not an object, anywhere you want to go, where is Noelle headed?
Honestly, probably somewhere in Europe, like France or something.
Okay.
I feel like that'd be pretty cool.
Yes. All right. Noelle, thank you. Congratulations
Of course.
on a great
Thank
season
you.
so far. And we're going to, like I said, we're going to keep an eye on you. We wish you nothing but the best of luck here the rest of the year.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll switch Noelle in for Trent. Trent Taylor, come on up and have a seat. Welcome. I don't know can you eat? You're
Oh, I
heavyweight
can,
now,
yeah.
right? So you can eat.
I'm good to eat.
You don't have to cut weight.
No.
That's good. Because normally that's for me that would be the toughest thing to do if I was a wrestler, and no one would want to ever see me wrestle, number one. But if I was ever a wrestler, the biggest thing for me would be the eating or lack thereof. So
Yeah.
you got to be happy about that.
Yeah, I'm fortunate to not have to do that this year.
Okay, that's good. You've had to do it in the past, though.
Yeah, last year it wasn't terrible. I just
Okay.
had to get down to the 215 mark, which
Okay.
beginning of the season was like 5 pounds or something I had to get down to.
Okay.
And then I ended up going down to 190, which was a
Oh.
little more,
Yeah.
but once I got there, it was just maintaining.
Okay. Well, for those of you who don't know, Big Trent. Trent Taylor is our athlete of the week here for our male Perry athlete. He is a heavyweight wrestler for us. He is a junior, was a big part of our football success as a sophomore and winning our state championship, and then as a junior this year. He's got big things ahead of him. And so let's talk a little bit about wrestling, though, specifically. We'll sort of work in reverse order. Last week, Pin City, at the heavyweight level, you finished first. You pinned your way all the way through Pin City. What does that mean for you to win your own tournament here, sort of in your own backyard, so to speak?
Yeah, it was kind of the talk all week was just go out aggressive and get the pins, get the points. It seemed like everybody did that, not even just me, but everybody had that little fire behind them just to make sure it's your home tournament, take care of business, and everybody did that.
Yeah, well, you certainly did in that championship match. 33 seconds
Yeah.
to get a pin. You didn't waste any time there. What is on? So we'll take 1 week. Previous to that, back to the Brecksville tournament, one of the best tournaments in the state of Ohio, arguably the best, right there along with Ironman. You've got teams coming in from all over the country. It's a giant tournament. Kids of just immense skill level. You finish sixth, so that may not sound like first is pretty cool at Penn City. Brecksville's maybe 10 times the size as Penn City, but to come in sixth there is a really fantastic accomplishment. Just talk about that experience at that tournament and wrestling people of that caliber.
Yeah, so I was excited going into that tournament because I'm still early into my season,
Yeah.
and I needed to know where I was at wrestling heavyweights, good ones, and it definitely showed me. I wrestled many different heavyweights at that tournament, from the most athletic to dudes that weighed 270. But I think that showed me what I need to work on and how I can get much better for that sectional district and state later in late February, early March.
So what was the one thing that you realized in Brecksville that carried over or that you wanted to improve on for Penn City?
Yeah, when I'm down, I need to be moving the whole time. I can't let dudes that weigh 40 pounds more than me just sit on my hips. So moving, I got to take more shots. I was trying to wrestle up with my upper body more, which in Penn City I did fine with because the skill level isn't as good as Brecksville. But I need to take more shots, and that showed.
So you're 13-3 on the year. 9 of those 13 wins come from a pin. You're ranked 10th in all of Division II at the heavyweight level. What are some of your goals for the rest of this year? About halfway, maybe halfway through the season. What do you have in mind for yourself?
Well, my main goal first is winning a team state championship. It hasn't been done, and
Yeah.
I think this year is the year we can do it. So that's my main goal. And my personal goal is to make state and make a run at state.
Okay.
At what point did they come to you and say, hey, let's transition into heavyweight for you? You mentioned bouncing around a little bit last year and trying to maintain weight. When was it that it was like, you know what, this is the year, heavyweight's where you need to be, and let's see what happens?
Yeah, I kind of came out of football season weighing about 235, so it would have been a big drop, but we also didn't have a heavyweight at the time, so luckily the guys below me, Nolan and Chuck, made the decision. Chuck made the team decision to go to 190,
Okay.
cut some weight for that. Nolan cut weight from heavyweight last year to make 215, and that left me at heavyweight, so just trying to fill the whole roster, make sure we had the way to make a run at state for duels.
Yeah, for state duels. So we just got that information today. You may not even know this. We're the second seed in Northeast Ohio, so in our district. So we will be a host site on Saturday, February 1. We'll have 3 or 4 other teams. We might have a bye the first round. Waiting to get the bracket here. But we will host now on February 1. And if we win that day, we would advance to the state dual state championship level, which will be at Bishop Watterson High School the following Saturday, February 8th. And I think that's one thing to me, watching our team this year, and again, no disrespect to any teams we've had here in the past, we've had very strong dual teams. We've always seemed to be, though, like really heavy in one half. Either the lower half is really strong or upper half. We've run the gamut. I think 1 through 14 this year, we're as strong as we've ever been and have a really good shot to do some damage down at the state duels.
Yeah, I agree with that. From our 106 to heavyweight, I think everybody can step up at whatever time's needed.
Yeah.
And for you, the transition this year, Coach Trenelli comes in, Coach Rowan retires. How has that transition been? Is it similar? I know we had Coach Trenelli on a couple weeks ago and talking about trying to make a name for himself, but continuing the legacy of wrestling here at Perry?
Yeah, it was so smooth. You wouldn't even know anything else happened. It's they're both great coaches. They both take things from each other, and I think Coach Trentinelli is going to get us to where we need to be, and it was just smooth transition.
Did you work with him down at the middle school level? I know he talked about having a bunch of his guys when they were younger, so obviously being familiar with him.
Yeah, he was my middle school coach, and then he's always been in the room. Every coach is in the room every day, so you see those guys every day through your whole career.
That's awesome. And in your opinion, how long does it take? I mean, like we've talked with a couple of basketball players as well, getting in from football shape into whatever winter sport, basketball, wrestling, swimming. How long does it take you to get into that wrestling shape, if you will?
Until the end of the year.
Okay, so you're not there yet.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're never in the
never there.
best shape possible. There's always something better you can do, and it takes some time.
And so, what's your current weight now, and are you giving up weight every match in your estimation, or you find yourself sometimes it's even, or are you on the lower side of a heavyweight?
It's pretty close sometimes, but most of the time I'm giving up weight.
Okay.
And I'm about 235 to 240.
Okay.
So most of the time I'm giving up weight, but other times not.
But the quickness or the agility, or because watching you on the football field, what you can do with your body, I think sort of makes up for that. You're not out there sort of bumbling, stumbling around at 300 pounds. You're pretty agile and athletic, so that helps.
And for you, we talked with Noel about it a little bit. Scouting, like how do you get ready for a match? I mean, obviously, heavyweight. I might get a guy that's 285, or I might get someone that's 220. Do you wait till that day? Do you watch film beforehand? How does it go through? Obviously, it's probably different than preparing for a football game.
Yeah, it's just known through all high school wrestling that rankings don't matter. You can't look into it too much. You can't look into your bracket. You just got to wrestle how you wrestle. And I've kind of taken that from hearing it from everybody. I just got to wrestle my style every match.
All right, and if you don't know this about Trenton, he's actually a three-sport athlete here at Perry, which we love to promote to our kids. We love our three-sport athletes. We're not a Mentor or a Riverside. We're a small community. We home grow all of our athletes. Everybody knows this, and so we need those three-sport athletes. So he's football, wrestling, and baseball. And I won't ask you to pick a favorite, but what is maybe something? Are you always ready to sort of move on to the next one when the season's over? Or are you always looking ahead, like, oh, hey, I'll be excited, well, because the winter is the winter here in Perry, Ohio. Get outside and play some baseball in the spring, that type of thing.
Yeah, I just play it by the season.
Yeah.
I love football. That's probably one of my better sports I'm
Yeah.
at. But I love everything every season I'm in.
That's awesome, and that, like I said, that's what we love about athletes like Trent. They give so much to each of the sports that they're in. You mentioned football. You're being recruited at a pretty high level in football, and any updates you can give us there in terms of, whether it's a goal of yours or, where you're at right now. Are you hearing from college coaches pretty much continually? This junior year into the senior year is always sort of a hotbed for that.
Yeah, I've been talking to a fair amount of coaches. There was a couple here yesterday.
Okay.
This January to February months, that's when it gets crazy with
Yeah,
recruiting going
right.
into your
Yep.
junior spring.
Yeah.
So I'm going to, in the spring, work around baseball and try and get out to some places.
Yep.
But this coming summer is going to be a crazy time.
Well, you certainly have the body frame for it, of what the college coaches are looking for. I placed a phone call the other day to Luke Farrell, who, and you reminded me of him from a body standpoint. He was long. He's 6'5", 6'6", and then that's what the college coaches are looking for. They're looking for that frame because they're going to put it on you. You're going to work hard in their weight room and their nutrition programs. And so I think the future is very, very bright for you, Trent. We wish you nothing but the best. Before we let you out of here, just some similar questions that we asked Noel, just to try to get to know you a little bit. Your favorite food
I love a good pizza.
Good pizza. All right.
Yeah.
So I had this discussion with my kids the other day. What is your favorite pizza place in our area? Not necessarily just Perry, but where are you going for your pizza?
I don't know. There's so many pizzas
know.
around here. I love Joey's Pizza.
Okay.
In Madison.
Good. Shout out to Joey's. Joey's takes care of us
Yep.
all the time. They've been so good to us. We had our state championship football dinner there last year, and they're catering a lot of our events that we have here. So shout out to Joey's. Favorite subject in school?
Social studies.
Social studies. Good. Coach Isofano will like that.
Yep.
Movie or show? Favorite TV show or movie that you would say?
Forrest Gump. I love that movie.
That's a
yeah.
good one. Love it. We have not had that answer yet, surprisingly. That's good. Favorite memory from anything athletics, from youth sports all the way up through high school here at Perry?
I'm definitely going to have to say winning the state championship
Yeah,
last
first
year.
first one ever in Perry history. Something to be extremely proud of. It'll always be the first one. And then if you could visit any place in the world, money's not an object, where are you going?
The Bahamas.
Bahamas. Excellent. Oh, I forgot to ask Noelle. We'll have to have her back on. Hobby. Do you have any hobbies outside of, again, you're a busy guy, right? You've got all your academic stuff going on, and you're a 3-sport athlete. You're constantly working. Any hobbies? Do you have time for any hobbies outside of all of that?
We live on a farm, so
Yeah.
working on the farm.
Okay. Animals?
Yeah, a lot of
Alright.
animals.
A lot of animals around the Taylor place. So,
Mhm.
All right, Trent Taylor, our male athlete of the week here for week 18 on the Walk the Plank. Thanks for joining us, Trent.
Thank you.
Best of luck the rest of this season and in your future. We appreciate your time coming in here and spending with us today. Yeah, as I said, so let's just talk a little bit more wrestling. We're going to host Madison this Friday night. So hopefully this pod will drop. It's Wednesday. We'll drop it tonight, so hopefully it'll get out there. But Friday, January 10th, we will host the Madison Blue Streaks here in a duel. And the thing I want to bring attention to there is we're going to also honor our veterans for both communities, where they will get in for free to the event. We're going to have a little, ceremony, for lack of a better word, just to recognize their service and what they've given to our country. So Veterans Night here, Friday against Madison. And we've had some success against the Blue Streaks here in
Yes.
girls basketball, boys basketball, girls swim. The boys tied, and we'll see if wrestling can sort of put a bow on it and get a win on Friday night.
I guess I should have asked you beforehand, will there be a girls' event as well, or will the girls be somewhere else for
The
wrestling?
girls will be somewhere else this weekend. And Matt, the girls wrestling world is pretty dynamic right now in terms of it is exploding. It's just not at every school, and it's not to say Madison doesn't have enough wrestlers, but we were committed to a tournament prior to this event being scheduled.
Gotcha.
So they're going off, and again, we've got some excellent girls. Like I made an announcement earlier today. Eva Kuchar won again this past weekend. Gigi Dominish finished second, and we have several of them. Emily Kuchar that really have a chance to do some damage here at the state tournament level. So we're trying to get them as many matches that are going to benefit them to sort of reach their goal of making it to the state level in girls wrestling. And shout out to OHSAA for putting together the last 3 years now. The girls and the boys wrestle down there together. It's a pretty cool setup that they've got.
Yeah, so the nice event come out. Be sure to be here Friday. We already talked about the swim coming up on Saturday.
Yep.
Girls basketball will be also in action here on Saturday. So let's catch up where we've been at on the girls' side. 9th in the News Herald right now in their top of the crop, sitting at 6-5. They had a couple of big wins against Sugar Falls, had the win at Madison, 2 tough losses against Canfield and Mentor as the time we were away.
Yep, and let me just refresh on the girls wrestling. Abby Cornwell also was a champion last week at our Woodmere tournament. So, our girls wrestling is in great shape right now. So, Coach Dominish and all of our coaches who work with our girls, hats off to them and the continued success. But yes, girls basketball, they've had a very tough schedule.
Yes.
And we've played Mentor, we've played Canfield. We're playing some really good schools. in the Northeast Ohio area. And I know Coach Infalvi, when we had him on, he talks about those games. Obviously, you want to win, but we also want to get us ready for the postseason tournament. And that's sort of our expectation of all of our programs. Like, we want to compete for a CVC championship year in and year out. We know we're not going to win every single year, but that's our expectation. We want to compete at that level and then really advance as far as you can in the postseason. We're never going to say our goal is to win a state championship. Because it just happens. When that happens, it comes together. We want to compete at the highest level that we can once that postseason starts. And games like Canfield and Mentor will get us ready for that. And Chagrin Falls and going on the road at Chagrin and winning a close game that's tied at the end of 3 and pulling away to win a game like that. Madison the other night going to overtime against a very, very good Madison team who had two very, very good players over there. And, it's games like that that are going to give us the best chance to make a run in Division 4, which is weird to say for girls basketball. So as a reminder, and girls and boys basketball, there are 7 divisions now in 7 divisions at OHSA level. We're in Division 4, which that's where we're at in football, so it sort of coincides with that. We're going to see some different schools, but and it's always nice to get a little rating in the top of the crop just to see where other people think you are and knowing that you've had some success.
Yeah, so the big win against Madison was their last game. They have games this week at West G, and then, as we mentioned, home on Saturday, which Saturday, 11 a.m. tip, varsity-only game.
Varsity-only game. Orange does not have JV, so we bumped that game. The JV game was supposed to start at 11. Once we lost that one, we just moved the varsity up to that spot. So a little unique time frame. So it'll be a busy place here on Saturday. We've got a varsity girls game going on at 11. We've got the swim invitational going on at the same time. So if you can't find a parking spot, hopefully you can, but come on up and support our teams here on Saturday. It'll be a hopping place.
And we'll save boys basketball. We'll save that for last. Gymnastics. How does that go during break? I'm sure they had a meet or two.
Yeah, they did, and they always, they're practicing just like all of our athletes. The difference there, and I've said this before, is that they're driving 20 minutes to go practice, and sometimes their practices are much longer. You see a basketball practice, an hour and a half, 2 hours, wrestling, couple hours. Gymnastics practices can go longer than that, and they've got lots of things to work on. 4 different events to work on. But I know the girls are working hard, and they've got the same mindset. Unfortunately, we don't have a Chagrin Valley Conference championship for them to attend. We used to. We just don't have as many teams as there once were in the CVC for gymnastics. But I know their focus is going out each and every weekend. And again, they're traveling around, just like girls wrestling. In 2 weeks, we're going to like Bellefontaine. I don't even know where that is. That's somewhere down, in southern part of Ohio. But again, gymnastics has been to Cincinnati already this year. And again, the idea is putting themselves in the best potential spot when sectionals districts happen, with the goal of qualifying for state. And we've come very, very close. Marley Freeman as a freshman, very close to qualifying in state, missed last year as well. So I know there's optimism to actually make it down to the state meet this year. So we're looking forward to the rest of the season for our gymnastics team.
And this is really a spring sport, but playing here in the winter. The softball team, they have their winter league at Cleveland State.
Yeah.
They're pretty much going to basically play this entire month of January before getting ready for tryouts and all that. But they split this past weekend. They went 1-1 on Sunday down at CSU.
Yeah, it's a great. We've done it for so many years. We used back in the day. I mean, we're backtracking probably 20 years ago, and it was happening when I started 15 years ago. We would have an indoor league here in the field house and sort of break the field house down into 2 different fields. We'd play simultaneously, sort of taking right field out of play.
Sure.
But played with 8 players. But CSU is just such they've with the dome, and you can actually hit a fly ball and catch a fly ball a little bit, as opposed to what the field house gave us. So it's a great opportunity for our girls to go down there and compete as a team and sort of start to build that camaraderie. prior to the season even officially starting. They'll kick things off on, I think it's like February 20th will be our first official day of practice. But they've been working hard. Coach Carino, Coach Monas, Coach Infalvi, working on the field, being out there in the fall. Same thing for baseball and the same thing for track. Indoor track's going on right now 3 days a week. They'll start to compete here over at Spire in some indoor meets. So all of our sports, again, that's why I give our kids credit. Being a small school, I know we have girls that are going to basketball practice and then stepping into the cage for a little bit, trying to get some continuity and some timing down there already. So, looking forward to, a great, both baseball and softball are going on a trip this spring out of state. They're going to Florida. So getting some warmer weather and being able to play early in the season is so key. And I love all the off-season stuff that's going on.
The only other spot left is boys basketball.
Yep.
So I don't know if I agree with ninth in the top of the crop, but coming in at 7-1 and an impressive win last night against West G.
Yeah, West G is 7-3 going into that game, and we no disrespect to West G, I'll just call it as I see it. We blew their doors off. I mean, we were up 22 points. So for 3 quarters, we took it to them, and they made a nice run. They played extremely hard. They did not quit. I knew they're very well coached. They've got some great athletes and some great players on that team, and they made a run back at us in that fourth quarter. But we just came out and played very, very well, very aggressive, hard-nosed defense, turned the ball over, and we made our shots. And so a 7-3 team coming in here in a big CVC matchup. We were really on our game last night, and that was, in my opinion, our best game of the year. But coming off a win on Saturday against Madison, we had that girls-boys doubleheader. It was a cool event over there at Madison, and to get a win against Madison, who was 6-2 going into that game. So right now, our Martin RPI, which is the equivalent of the Harbin system that's used in football, we're ranked up there pretty darn well, even at the state level, because we beat some teams. Madison, again, 6-2. They beat Chardon, who was 5-1 or something like that. So, and West G was 7-3. They beat some good teams. So it's one of those things that it'll be interesting for both boys and girls to see where we finish in those ratings. And that's another thing people may not know. That's how that's your seed of where, the Martin RPI is going to tell you your seed at the postseason draw. And then you get to pick where you go based on, if you're the first seed, you get to go anywhere on the board. If you were the 4th seed, you have to wait for those 3 other schools in front of you to pick. So you still get to ultimately choose where you go, but that's going to determine the seed, where it used to be coaches voting on that. And you got into some things where, it just wasn't always on the up and up. This is a little bit cleaner way to do it. So I'm excited to see where both of our teams turn up there. And as I talked about with wrestling, they got seeded number 2 in the state dual wrestling tournament. So that's exciting as well, and we're looking forward to hosting here on February 1 for that program.
Yeah, so the boys will look to continue their winning streak. Their only loss coming to Hawken.
Yeah.
They've been able to run off 5 wins in a row. Thursday they'll be at Orange. So it seems like a lot of the teams are heading to that Pepper Pike area coming up on Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday, Orange reached out, and we didn't have a problem with it. Because of the Ohio State game on Friday, Orange is like, should we play on Thursday? We ran it by our coaching staff and said, yeah, that's fine with us. It really didn't make a difference. So we're heading out to Orange on Thursday for boys, and then we're hosting Edgewood next Tuesday, which is, that's not a league game anymore. Sometimes it's confusing because of our, divisional changes. Last year, the girls and the boys were in more of the Lake Division, the Madison, Jefferson, Ashtabula, Geneva range, and now we're back into the Chagrin Division, West G, Chagrin Falls, Hawken, Orange. So it's really good. That's sort of our old CVC, and we've got a lot of rivalries with those schools. Last year was fun too in that Lake Division, but I'm happy both teams are playing at a really high level, and it's going to be a fun way to end up the year.
And just to to recap everything. So starting Friday, I mean, it's a pretty busy time here at Perry with wrestling on Friday night,
Yep.
swim on Saturday, girls basketball on Saturday. You know, a lot of events going within a nice 24-hour span.
Yeah, and then Thursday won't be overly busy here. We have our diving portion of the Perry
Right.
Swim Invitational Thursday night at 6 p.m. Everybody else is away. Boys at Orange, girls at West G. Wrestling's off, and then Friday home. That veterans recognition night here against Madison will be a fun match. And then Saturday, girls and boys and girls swim Saturday morning and afternoon.
And as that continues along, you kind of alluded to some of it. Conference tournaments are starting to be right finally in sight, where
Yes.
it's going to be here before you know it, and
Yeah.
soon the transition into spring sports.
Yeah, and the way basketball has worked, wrestling kept a similar schedule than they have in the past because of the numbers of divisions now in girls and boys basketball. They actually had to move sectionals up a week. So we're starting those February 15th for the girls and February 22nd for the boys. So that stuff will be here before we know it. But it is literally a sprint from once we start back from break until mid-March. And the craziest month of all is about February 20th to March 20th because we're trying to get spring sports in the field house and winter sports are still going on. So it's a fun time, an exciting time, and real happy with where we're at right now.
Yeah, so that kind of puts a bow on everything for week 18 of Walk the Play. I mean, a lot to cover because of the 2-week absence,
Yeah.
but a lot jammed into this one, and we're now on Apple Podcasts. You can find it
Yes,
there.
good
You
work
can
there.
find with Amazon Music, Spotify. There's every way to find this. Watch the video portion that is on the school's YouTube page that
Yep.
Mr. Rockwell will tweet out at some point, or
Yep.
I don't know, you call it Twitter or X.
Yeah,
I don't
X,
know.
whatever. I
So
don't
yeah,
know.
it will be out there at some point, but there's now more venues and avenues to find the podcast.
Yeah, and we just want to try to promote our kids and our teams and the successes that they're having. So we hope you tune in any way you can get your podcast. We're here. We're trying to talk to a couple of kids every week, a couple of coaches every week. We'll get Coach Isofano in here next week. Maybe he's a little camera shy today. We'll see. But we'll get him in here and try to talk to a coach or Coach Allen down at the middle school, try to highlight them. So please join us week in and week out. We'll usually do this on Tuesday or Wednesday and try to get it out there midweek so you can have some information as we head into each weekend.
Yeah, plenty of action coming up, so be sure to get out and support the teams either at home or on the road. You're getting into that crunch time now where not that they didn't matter early on,
Yeah.
but now every game matters
Yep.
for positioning. So be sure to get out here and support all the student athletes and all the teams here at Perry.
Yes, and as always, thanks for joining us, Gene. Thanks for listening or watching. Continued success for our athletic teams, and as always, go Pirates.